unfortunately missed the weight. The Austin Hospital, would that be what you, are you local around here or Austin? Austin's the closest. It's nice to get checked out.
All right, roller derby fans, welcome back. Rebellion 2019 from the Eltham Leisure Centre. We're skating today on the Bazombi track. We're about to have a look at the third game for today. Northside Rollers taking on Auckland Roller Derby Bolts. Rolling out for the Death Stars today, we'll have Stark Raven, Suspender, Lanes, Venus Thigh Slap, Siebes the Day, Fizzgig, Danny Hill, Dash, Oddsock Fitz, Olivia Neutron Bomb, Gloria Stunham, and Probalama. Ably managed from the bench by Smack, Cinnamon Whip, and Aka Armoff. And I'm joined by Alabama Hurley. Welcome to the microphone.
And for Auckland Roller Derby Bolts, we have 06 Paradigm Stretch, 13 Benedictor, 14 Venus Thigh Trap, 1812 Grim Scary Tales, 23 Steve, 24 McDonald, 36 Baker, 666 Terror Satana, 737 MC Slammer, 76 Resident Evil, 8 Wheezy. I'm a bit wheezy after all these calls. 86 Mackenzie. And on the bench, Rora Rebel, Bellatrix Deranged, and Cyroclastic Flow.
All right, our countdown to Derby has run out. We're about to get underway in this game.
I'm very excited for this matchup. I don't remember the last two. Maybe these teams played a Rumble, actually, a few months ago.
Lining up for the first jam, Venus Thigh Slap for the Death Stars and Mackenzie for the Bolts. Northside Rollers, Death Stars in their green livery today. The ARDL Bolts, primarily in white, with their amazing lightning bolt leggings.
I love the lightning bolt leggings. This is the first time we've had Auckland over at Rebellion, so it's quite a treat to have an international team fly over. Plus, we really love Auckland. And for our officiating crew, we have KO on the outside, Bullseye, Spanish Inquisition is head reffing, always latte, and Clareful Consideration.
All right, the rolling whistle gets our timer underway. And we're into the Derby. A roll back to the start line as the whistle goes. Venus Thigh Slap, the forward-most jammer momentarily, but Mackenzie finds a way through, picks up lead. First lead of the game for the ARDL Bolts.
And Venus Thigh Slap out, not far behind them. This is going to be a bit confusing. We have a Venus Thigh Slap and a Venus Thigh Trap. Maybe we'll call them Slap and Trap.
Just call them all Venus.
V1, V2.
First points on the board go to the Bolts. They're 2 up. Death Stars are yet to get off the donut.
Looks like Fizzgig taking the line for the Death Stars.
Baker jamming for the Bolts, but it's Fizzgig who gets out first, rapidly through, picks up lead jammer.
Beautiful waterfalling by Northside.
Baker manages to get out now, has the helmet cover stashed. But Fizzgig is back amongst the pack and picking up points, calling off the jam.
3 points by the looks of it.
Jam number 2 seems the first lead change for the game. Olivia Neutron Bomb.
Oh, quick lead there by...
That's Mackenzie who quickly gets out first.
I need to get used to all this fancy technology you've got going here, Bob. Keeping all our watchers at home happy.
And Mackenzie's going to add 4 to the bolts total. It's a lead change.
Another one.
3 jams, 2 lead changes. Tell you what, Bama, I love you'll be able to see it in this long shot when we change in a second. The sparkly blue covers on the penalty box chairs.
Ooh, very fancy. I was wondering where they came from.
Jam.
Quick suck back there by the Death Stars, capturing Auckland's jammer. She is determined, though, pushing hard at the front.
But Dash manages to put on a turn of speed and bolt out of the pack first. Lead jammer for the Death Stars. Baker's clear of the pack now as well. Dash is in amongst it and scoring down at turn 1. Gets the signal to call from the mirror. Picks up 3.
Ooh, and a tied game.
Jam 5 getting underway in this match between the Death Stars and the Bolts. Venus thigh slap jamming for the Death Stars and Paradigm stretch for the Bolts. And it's thigh slap who gets out first. That's lead jammer again for the Death Stars.
Lovely triangle formation there by the Death Stars, and a sneaky star pass by the Bolts.
Yeah, Death Stars happy to call that one off, having picked up the 4. Takes them out to 10. And 4 points is the advantage they hold over the Bolts.
Another tight scrum there on the jam line.
Yeah, Grim Scary Tales jamming for the Bolts this time round, but it's Fizzgig for the Death Stars who gets out first. Grim Scary Tales clear of the pack now as well. Death Stars just trying to mix up that Auckland defence, prevent them from nailing Fizzgig. Manages to pick up a couple, no, all 4 as they call it off. Tell you what, if you've been keeping up with the Rebellion 2019 Facebook page, you would have seen all of Hawkeye's brilliant photos of all the highlights from yesterday. Hawkeye couldn't be here with us today, but we do have Scout taking some photos for us as well. We'll get those up onto the page as soon as we can. Baker and Olivia Neutron Bomb, your jammers for Jam 7. Auckland defenders nicely rolling around in front of Neutron Bomb there at the moment, but clear of the pack now.
2 jammers with a very similar style.
Northside blockers able to hold that inside line, forcing the redraw on that jammer. Star covers off, and it has been passed now. Star pass completed by the Bolts. Unable to capitalise on that, not adding any more points to the Bolts total. And the Death Stars put on 8.
And Dash on the lineup against Mackenzie.
There's still only 7 minutes into this game, Bama. We've got 22 plays 6 in favour of the Death Stars at the moment. We're just rolling into Jam 8.
I really love watching both of these teams play. Oh, Mackenzie sneaking through for lead jammer. Convict City played Auckland over at TGSS, and Mackenzie sure gave us some grief trying to hold her down.
Dash is out of the pack and circulating for some points now, but Mackenzie's going to take the 4 they've got and call off the jam.
And we have the Venus and Green up on the line, up against Baker.
Green Venus.
Green Venus.
And both jammers looking for an early start down the inside. Venus thigh slap finding the hole. Baker has to go back and try again.
Oh, sneaky footwork there on the outside.
And the Death Stars hitting it and quitting early, picking up the 4.
So the results of the last game have determined that Convict City will be playing varsity roller derby in the finals later this afternoon.
Fizzgig out of the pack early and his lead jammer for the Death Stars. 666 Terra Satana just opening up a hole for Mackenzie to get through, to get out of the pack as well. Couple of Death Stars skaters down at the back of the pack. The jam is called off. Bama, we've seen a lot of jams this game already. Just take the one scoring pass and call it. Chipping away. It's Olivia Neutron Bomb and Baker behind the jammer line when the whistle starts. Jam 11. Baker steps high on the outside. Lead jammer for the Auckland Roller Derby League Bolts.
Again, Death Stars jammer's out, not far behind. It's been a very low penalty game so far.
A strong triangle at the front there. Just pushes Baker off to the outside. Bolts take the 3, and the Death Stars grab 1 point at the end of that one. As we roll into a team timeout for Auckland Roller Derby League Bolts. Currently 17 points behind the Death Stars. Death Stars in front 30, Bolts on 13. Just over 10 minutes played in this game.
How many more games do we have left today? Okay, 3? We should know this. It's been a long weekend.
We should know this, Bama. We made it up.
We need personal assistance, Bob, to remind us of these things. Oh, here.
Should be 3 more pool games plus the grand final.
No, this is game 3, so we have 3 more games left today. We have Adelaide Roller Derby up against Canberra Roller Derby next, followed by Varsity versus South Sea, and then the grand final.
All right. That's enough of a team timeout. Let's get back to some roller derby. Paradigm Stretch and Dash jamming this time round. Dash lives up to their name and straight through that pack.
Attempted star pass there by Auckland. Unfortunately, dropping the helmet cover.
Oh, and both jammers down on the infield. Dash continues on. Paradigm Stretch recycled to the back. There is no star visible for the Bolts at the moment. I'm not sure. Yeah, now I can see who has got it. In the meantime, Dash has done a couple of scoring laps and added 8 points so far to the Death Stars total. Going to make that another 4 and indicated by the mirror to call it off. 12-point jam.
Lovely work there by the Death Star blockers, holding the jammer long enough to force them to pass the helmet cover. They're doing some good star passes, though. They're not as easy as they look.
And even from the sidelines here, having to keep a close eye on who's still got the cover in their hand and hasn't been passed yet.
Very tricky.
All right, Venus thigh slap steps across the last of the defenders. Lead jammer for the Death Stars. Grim Scary Tales just survives the chase down by Suz at the front of that pack.
Hit it and quit it by the Death Stars.
And hitting it and quitting it is slowly but surely extending that lead that they've got.
This game is going very fast. We're already almost halfway through the first half. I like these cameras angles you've set up, Bob. Very good job. Bob and Aaron.
Baker and Fizgig jamming at the moment. Baker wins the race to pick up a lead jammer for the Bolts. And it's a jammer race down towards turns 3 and 4 as the pack picks up speed.
Both jammers flying around those apexes.
And Baker electing to tap the hips, but Fizgig manages to jag 2 points.
Ooh, that burns when that happens. Have you given Aaron a derby name yet? Aaron, your helper on the feed here all weekend.
All right, Jam 15, Mackenzie and Neutron behind the jammer line. Mackenzie, that's with the speed down low, picks up a lead jammer.
Great offense by Tara Satana, helping Mackenzie rather, pick up that lead.
Neutron clear of the pack now. Some safe falling in the pack there by Suspender. Tuck and roll. The Bolts are happy to stick with the 4 points they pick up with that one. Takes them to 17. Halfway through the period, and this is jam number 16. Gives you an idea of how quick these jams are cycling through.
Oh, and Dash finding that inside line, taking lead jammer. Awesome one-on-one blocking by Sabes in green.
Baker recovers the star cover as they get out of the pack. The Death Stars going to take a small handful of points out of that one, but denying the Bolts any addition to their score. Jammer matchup once again of Venus Thigh-Slap and Mackenzie. And it's Green Venus who gets one out first. Mackenzie with a little leap over the legs of the defender.
I think Green Venus has 100% lead jammer stats at the moment. She's doing a great job. Have you seen Northside's amazing Pride merch? Full of rainbows.
It's amazing. Rainbows everywhere. This time doing the jamming with the Stars is Baker and Fizzgig, who gets out of the pack first and is lead jammer for Northside. Baker with the star stash survives that charge down. But doesn't survive that jammer charge down.
Savage hit there by Fizzgig. Sucking Baker back to the back of the pack.
Take that in your engagement zone.
I would say no.
All right, as everybody recovers now. Northside have added 8 points at the end of that one. You know what keeps catching my eye is Steve's skates. They are amazing skates. I love them.
They are amazing.
Also doing some reffing this weekend.
Oh, I thought I'd seen them somewhere.
Oh, firmly into the back of that pack. Neutron busts on through, picks up lead. Paradigm Stretch pretty hot on their tail. Points, points, points is the call from the Death Stars bench.
Oh, unfortunately, Neutron picking up a back block penalty. This means this jam will go for the full 2 minutes.
The stationary pack awaits Paradigm Stretch. They just start to run as they approach. The Bolts blockers just trying to keep it nice and steady and slow that pack down. A little bit of a fence there now. Trying to poke a hole in that 3-wall.
Both of these teams playing really smart, hard derby. Very clean, very low penalty game still.
Yeah. For Northside, Lane's just heading off for a forearms penalty. Leaves just the 3 blockers in the way of Paradigm Stretch there at the moment. Neutron back from the box.
Very solid triangle there by the Death Stars.
And Paradigm Stretch manages to find a way past. Neutron out of the pack now as well. That's the first scoring pass for the Death Stars in this jam.
Nice offense there by 2-3.
And then both those jammers just have to do it all again next pass around.
Oh, the clock's going to save them the hassle.
And that's the jam. That was a hard slog.
It sure was.
Auckland at the end of that one come out 10 points.
It's really hot. Melbourne's really turned on the hot, sticky weather for us.
Grim, scary tales, jamming for the Bolts and Dash for the Death Stars.
And
Dash manages to get on out first. Both these jammers have a size advantage over the blockers that they're skating against.
In that they're tiny and they're sneaking through.
That's right. They fit through the smallest of holes. Dash just looks for some confirmation from the bench and goes back and starts that pass again.
And it looks like we've had a star pass to Tara Satana, who is a very strong pivot.
Has done away with the jammer size advantage. Tara Satana clear. Yep. Clear of the pack, but not able to get round in time to pick up any more points before Dash calls it off. Jam number 21, Mackenzie and Venus thigh slap, and Venus thigh slap picks up lead jammer one more time. Mackenzie wrapped up there at the moment in that triangle at the front. Venus thigh slap.
Venus is so good on those lines.
Oh, and some fancy balance there by Mackenzie. Keeps them in bounds and through.
They've been short and sweet.
All right, and that looks like a team timeout for Northside Rollers.
We're at 21 short, sweet jams. Getting in, scoring the points, calling it off.
I've got that stats book ready too.
7.5 minutes left to play. Rebellion 2019, this is day 2. It all comes down to this. We've only got one afternoon left of roller derby for you from Rebellion 2019 this year. Live at the Eltham Leisure Centre.
First time we've brought this tournament to Eltham. Smaller than usual, one track.
First time we've had a single division.
It is. It is. We've enjoyed it here, though, and thank you to Diamond Valley for giving us their training space for the day.
And thank you to Northside Rollers for giving us all their volunteer hours, getting this tournament up and running and manning the door and the merch stalls.
And thank you to Skate Victoria for making it all possible.
We're about to get underway in Jam 22. That's a lot of jams for a period.
It is.
And starting it off, Fizgig and Baker. The defensive formations get right up in front. Both jammers almost simultaneously out of the pack, but Fizgig just in front. She's not up for a race.
No. She wants to get to 30 jams in this half, I bet.
Either that or she wants to get to lunchtime.
I want to get to lunchtime. I'm starving.
Neutron and Mackenzie lining up ready to take the whistle.
Maybe at the next Rebellion we can have those people that walk around with trays of chips and beer for sale.
They can serve finger food during the lineups.
Yes. Very tight walls. Neither pack's really moving off of the jam line.
Yeah, no one's going anywhere in there at the moment. Neutron switches it up, tries to go to the inside. Mackenzie also switches to the inside, so both defensive walls follow suit. Back to the outside now. More than half a minute to get down to turn one, and then Olivia Neutron Bomb is heading off to the penalty box. So Mackenzie breaks on free, lead jammer, and now a power jam. Stationary pack awaits. Right down here in front of our position.
Auckland coming in with some beautiful offense there to help Mackenzie sneak through and grab those 4 points. She wasn't really sneaking, was she? It was pretty clear she was there.
And Auckland say, no, Stark Raven, you may not join your defence.
Nice solo blocking by Green, 3-6-0. Running Mackenzie all the way back to the back of the pack.
And Danny Hill able to bring Mackenzie all the way back to start that straightaway run again.
Another good clear there off the line by Tara Satana.
Yeah, and at the end of that one, the Bolts are going to come away with 8 points from that jam, managing to keep the Death Stars scoreless in that one.
It looks like Auckland calling for an official review. Bob, why don't you go over and find out what this is about? If you've just tuned in from home, you're watching Game 10 of Rebellion, Northside Rollers versus Auckland Roller Derby League. After this game, we will see Adelaide Roller Derby facing Canberra Roller Derby, followed by Varsity Derby League up against South Sea Roller Derby. The grand final starts at 5:30 tonight, and that will see Convict City Rollers taking on Varsity Derby League.
The official review.
Bob has some info.
The official review has been called by the Bolts, and they are calling for an egregious head charge against the Green Jammer in that last jam, and asking for the officials to review for a possible expulsion.
Thank you for that update. Looks like a decision has been made. Bob is going to run over and find out what that decision is for us.
And the outcome of that review is that the officials have determined that there was not enough information to call it an egregious charge. So the original penalty will stand. So Dash and Baker, the jammers here. Baker busts on out of that pack, picks up a quick lead jam status for Auckland Roller Derby Bolts. Cutting being called in there somewhere, and it is on Dash. No, my mistake, it was not. I thought they were heading off to the box, but they were
I
just
thought they were headed
recycling.
off to the box as well, but it was that Tara Satana had hit them out on the outside line and dragged them back.
Hit them halfway to the box.
Correct.
As they come to a standstill down here at turn 1.
I've been hit a few times by Tara Satana, and it is terrifying. Amazing solid wall there by Auckland at the rear of the pack.
Just that fluid ability to wrap around and close any micro gaps that show up.
And Dash has passed their helmet cover to Fitzy.
Fitzy just survives the late charge from Tara Satana at the front of that pack. Baker gets on through, adds 4 points, calls it off for the Bolts. Just 3 minutes left to go in this first period.
Mackenzie and Green Venus up on the line again.
Pack rolls back off the starting whistle. Venus thigh slap, fighting away on the outside, switches it up to the inside, looking to maintain their lead jammer record this game and do so.
That was White Venus blocking Green Venus there at the front of the pack.
Some Venus on Venus action. Mackenzie out of the pack there now as well. And thigh slap gets amongst it, picks up the points, calls it off. We've seen that many, many times. 50 points the margin.
I can't stop looking at those skates now. They're amazing. KO on the outside reffing lane there also has some pretty fancy skates on.
They are bright and eye-catching indeed. We can see Steve skating towards us backwards there, unable to hold Fizgig. It's a green lead. Grim Scary Tales jamming for the Bolts has recycled. Coming at the back of the pack, Fizgig picked up a scoring pass in the meantime.
Northside are doing a great job to do some offense and defense at the same time, helping their jammer and stopping Auckland's.
Steve, the pivot for Bolts, has received the star cover.
Nice hit out at the front there by Fitzy. Saves his back on that jammer like glue. And looks like Lane's on the inside line saying, no, you will not have my lane.
There's Steve with the jammer cover for the Bolts now, pushing their way through that defence at the moment. Just has to recycle inside again. Fizgig has now completed 3 scoring passes. We'll see what points they end up with at the end of this one. And then 4 more. Breaks the ton for the Death Stars with a 16-point jam. And
Big jam.
Bama in this game that's been hitting it and quitting it after 1 or 2 passes, and I think that's one of the first times we've seen a 4-scoring pass jam.
Yes, it was. Yeah, Death Stars did a really good job of just holding on to that Auckland jammer and not letting them out of the pack.
And that rolling whistle is going to take us into half-time. So as we head into half-time in this match between the Northside Rollers Death Stars and the Auckland Roller Derby Bolts, the Death Stars have the early advantage. They're 105 points, leading the Bolts on 39.
And we'll be back in just under 10 minutes.
Rebellion 2019 from the Eltham Leisure Centre. This is game 3 on our second day of play. Northside Rollers Death Stars taking on Auckland Roller Derby League Bolts. About half a minute away from the starting whistle in their second period of play for the game. Death Stars have the first half advantage. They're on 105, leading the Bolts on 39. Plenty more roller derby still to come today. After this one, we will have Adelaide taking on Canberra. A little bit later on, Varsity and South Sea will be playing as well. And we've whistled underway. Mackenzie and Venus Thigh Slap are the jammers. Venus Thigh Slap once again picks up a lead jammer for the Death Stars in green.
Oh, big hit there from Tara Satana. Am I on? I am on.
Jam comes to an end. The Death Stars have added 4. Fizzgig and Baker getting ready to start the next jam. You know it's been great, Bama?
What's that, Bob?
The officials' catering has been great.
Oh, my goodness. It really has.
Well done to the organisers who thought to set that up.
I know. They're amazing. I just tried one of the rolls, and it was so good. We love our officials, though.
Yeah. Fizzgig is your lead jammer for this jam for Death Stars. Baker still trying to make their way through the pack, just getting rolled around, the defence wrapping up in front of them.
Siebes and Gloria Stunham forming a really strong wall there.
Tara Satana now with the star cover in their hand, pushing their way past the front. Lanes heading off to the bin or to the penalty box for a penalty pack infraction.
I only worked at a Tropicarnage that Lanes' number is 1, 2, 3, 4 for the Lanes. Very clever. Trying to multitask here without Hawkeye to take photos for us. Post a few to the page.
Olivia Neutron Bomb steps down the open inside, picks up a lead for the Death Stars. Mackenzie just has to recycle to the mid pack. Oh, and a jump across the inside there. Clear of the pack on their initial.
Looks like we might be back to the fast hit it and quit it game that we saw in the first half of the first half.
Well, it seemed to work okay for them with their early lead. Grim Scary Tales looks for an opening down the inside, unable to find one. Dash knocked to the floor on the outside of the track. Rejoins. Lanes is back from the penalty box now. Baker's just going to run down and take the defence up to Dash.
Some amazing blocking there by Baker, normally jamming.
With both jammers out of the pack decides it's going to pick up speed.
And we have Mackenzie up against Venus Thigh Slap. I'm confusing myself now.
Yeah, Venus Thigh Slap. I think that the graphic on our screen says Venus Thigh Slap.
slip.
4 minutes in, and we're up to jam number 5 already in this period.
I've heard from some good sources that Venus has in fact not slept.
Oh, and forearms penalty there. So will this be the first time she's jammed and not had lead jammer status in this game?
Correct, and I think that it's the first time that she's received a penalty as well.
Yeah, normally a super clean jammer.
Ooh,
But Mackenzie heading off to the penalty box now as well. We'll have a jammer turnaround. So Venus thigh slap back from the bin. Looks to the outside. That door is closed by Venus thigh trap.
Very quick waterfalling there by the Death Star. Something rolling across the track. Looks like a coin. You do not want to be the person that dropped that penny.
It's all right.
Nice recovery from Aka.
It's always awkward when the coin rolls around in a circle. Venus thigh slap in the meantime, picking up some scoring passes. Look at Mackenzie down low and pushing into the middle of those defenders.
It's a tough slog.
The pack comes to a standstill, waiting these defenders again. Bit of a pile up in the middle of the pack there, just as they cross over the starting line. Mackenzie to the inside, Venus to the outside. And that's enough. That's enough jamming.
Oh, and went for the full 2 minutes. This is the third game that both teams have played this weekend. Neither really showing signs of fatigue, though. I'd love to see the stats after this game. I think Tara Satana has been on the track for at least 75% of these jams. Oh, another big hit there.
Yeah, Olivia Neutron Bomb is the lead jammer for the Death Stars. Baker clear of the pack. We'll see. Yeah, skating around for the points, calling off the jam.
Paradigm Stretch also having a go at blocking in that last jam. Another jammer turned blocker, at least for one jam. Lanes has decided to choose lane 1. Lovely offense there by Lanes. Clearing lane 1 and then Fizz taking lane 4.
Just the speed with which Fizzgig switched from the inside to the outside and turned around those defenders.
Amazing. Fizz is such a dynamic jammer. Just a really lovely human as well. I've also been told that Smack, the bench manager from Northside, is celebrating her birthday today.
Oh,
So
happy birthday, Smack.
Jinx.
You owe me a Coke.
You can't talk to us, say
So having a team timeout for the Auckland Roller Derby League Bolts at the moment. Bama's here sitting next to me, but she can't talk until I say her name because I got her on Jinx.
You just said my name. I think I can talk again. I was actually taking a drink, so I didn't notice, but I'm back. I don't really have much to say, though.
Now, team timeout. We'll just wait for the skaters to make their way back onto the track. Looks like Dash will be jamming for Northside. And Baker making their way back onto the track for the Bolts. Full complement of blockers on the track. No one in the penalty box.
Nice catch there by Suspender on that inside line, and Danny Hell giving that jammer hell at the front of the pack.
Oh, they're bridged way out in front there, but Baker has to be let go. Picks up lead jammer for the Bolts.
Yes.
So Baker switches it back up and picks up a scoring pass for Auckland. Dash uncharacteristically held up in this pack. Terrasatana with the chase down. And Baker just being told to call it from the bench, having picked up another scoring pass. Looks like 3 for that last pass, so 7 points added to the Bolts total. You might not be able to hear it at home, but the rain has started coming down on the roof here again at the Eltham Leisure Centre.
It is bucketing down. It's made life pretty interesting this weekend for skaters and their wheels. The floor changing grip and slip consistently over the course of the day.
Even with our patchy cloud cover, we've got skylights in the roof here and different changing temperature levels of the floor surface.
And Mackenzie up against Fizgig. Fizgig finding a hole but picking up a forearm penalty.
So that meant that lead was available when Mackenzie popped out of the pack, and they've picked up that lead and are now on a power jam. The pack awaits at the pivot line.
Oh,
some sideways stepping around the outside of that pack picks up all of the points. A similar technique, stepping around the outside, 4 more points. Back in the day, we used to say 5 in the sky.
we did too.
But we don't get the full hand of 5 anymore.
I'm so excited about that. As a jammer ref, it was really hard to track.
Don't have to give points for an imaginary person anymore.
And Fitzy taking that star pass, but the jam being called off.
And Mackenzie with a fall in the middle of the pack there. And how small did she make herself after she fell?
Very small.
Keep out of everyone's way. It's one of the early lessons in roller derby class, isn't it? How to fall and not trip other people over.
It sure is. How to fall small. Fall like a turtle or a beetle in that case.
The Venus thigh slap jamming again for Northside. Pushes the way with brute force through that pack to pick up lead. Baker shut down on the outside by Danny Hell.
I just love it that Baker's got that big smile on her face every time she exits the pack. Even when she's entering the pack, she has that smile on her face.
I saw her before terrifyingly come to a hockey stop millimetres away from Saz and then bust out that big grin.
It's awesome.
So bit by bit, the Death Stars gradually increasing that lead, pulling out this gap over the Bolts. 18 and a quarter minutes left to play in the game. And we're up to jam 11.
And Baker swapped onto blocking now. Catching Dash. Dash sneaks past Resident Evil and picks up lead jam.
How low did Dash get around to get outside that blocker then?
So low. I just love watching Dash jam.
And now we see why Baker's blocking, wearing the pivot cover, and has received the star.
It was a tactical decision.
And
look at that smile, grinning as she comes up, trying to grab some points. Oh, Dash has gone to the penalty box, so Baker will score some points on this jam. Seems is not going to make it easy for her.
I think our scoreboard may have the wrong Northside jammer identified, but Dash is standing in the box.
It is Dash, not Neutron Bomb.
Baker picking up some points for the Bolts. That was a hard slog through the pack. Baker just making sure that her blockers knew that Dash was coming as well. So Dash got wrapped up. Baker able to escape across the inside. Oh, the old jammer switcher up. Looking to the inside and a last second skate around the outside of those blockers.
More fancy footwork by Dash there on the inside line. They're another jammer that always looks like they're having a lot of fun.
Oh, and they're stepping and stepping and stepping. Survives. Dash gets through for a scoring pass. That evens up the scoring for this jam. 12 apiece so far.
Nice job by Northside to really stop that penalty. Bleed potential from that jammer penalty.
And the Bolts just adding 4 more at the fall. So they come up to 82. Death Star's still out in front on 158.
They've closed the gap, though, a bit. We could be in for an exciting last quarter.
Death Star's defenders just roll back towards the line as the whistle starts. Jam 12 of this second period. Mackenzie, the jammer in their sights for the Bolts.
And Terra Satana and Resident Evil forming a nice pair of butts there on the back line. Venus is patient, though, and she gets through for lead jammer.
Mackenzie able to escape past the front there now as well. The pack will have a brief moment to redefine itself. There's 4 defence at the front waiting for Venus thigh slap.
Nice catch there by 666 on the outside. Venus still picking up 2 points. Auckland just trying to get some clarification around those points that were awarded in that last jam, but they've stayed. And Neutron Bomb picks up lead jammer. Smiley Baker not far behind.
Neutron just pushed to the outside and instructed from the bench to call the jam off. Does so.
Adelaide and Canberra have both just arrived at the venue, getting ready for the next game to follow. Should be a great game to tune in and watch. Or come down to Eltham Leisure Centre. Join us on the front line.
Fizzgig pushes their way through that pack, but just puts a foot on the infield, has to go back.
Grab some rope while she goes. Oh, dear.
Mackenzie just comes in at the back as well.
Oh, nice catch there by 106 Stark Raven from Northside. Dragging Mackenzie back to the back of the pack, but she's made it through again.
Both jammers away from the pack at the moment. Fizzgig is the first to get back there. Gets the hips in as far as they can and calls the jam off. But Mackenzie grabs one at the end. And we're going to have an official timeout. Our jam timer. Giving the universal sign for official timeout.
I think it's kind of mean to make them do that.
We should come up with a new hand sign for official timeout.
Yawn.
Venus thigh slap and Baker jamming behind the line.
I think I might start a petition that we should just ban all official reviews. Official timeouts are okay. No official reviews, though. I think they're stupid. No one ever wins them.
Or introduce a timer. Venus thigh slap gets on through.
Yeah, a timer would be good. You can have an egg timer. When the egg timer goes off, official review is over. Oh. A little bit of spillage there as Venus makes her way through the pack.
Well, there's a trail of defenders in her wake. This time it's the green blockers.
There's blockers going down everywhere, and it doesn't look like anyone's really doing anything to make that happen. So I'm going to make the call that the floor is a little bit funky now. I think that rain and change in humidity is really starting to mess up the skaters' wheels.
Just at the end of that jam, Venus thigh slap came hot into the pack, and MC Slammer ended up on the ground, and there was an "oh my god, are you okay" moment.
Was it Slammer time? Looks like we have another official review being called. I'm not sure by which team, but Bob is going into the middle to get some more information for us.
And that review is questioning whether that was a back block by Venus thigh slap on MC Slammer at the end of that last jam. And on review, the officials have determined that the action was initiated the white blocker, and no back block penalty will be issued to the green jammer. Jam 16 in the second period of this game between the Northside Rollers Death Stars and Auckland Roller Derby League Bolts. Dash is the jammer for the Death Stars, gets out of the pack first, and is your lead jammer, Paradigm Stretch, battling away with those Northside defenders at the front of the pack. From the ground.
Paradigm Stretch has had a busy game. She's been on the track blocking when she hasn't been jamming.
Dash, meantime, has picked up one scoring pass already and is amongst their second.
Paradigm Stretch doing some fancy blocking up on her toe stops. I think Hawkeye captured some great pics of her yesterday up on those toe stops, dancing around at the front.
And the Bolts have completed a star pass off to Baker, who is now their jammer, not lead, and not going to get any points in this one.
It'd be so much easier if players just had their names, not numbers on the back of their jerseys.
You can make the names bigger.
Yes. It'll be very helpful for the commentators.
Olivia Neutron-Bomb finding a path through the inside. Lead jammer for the Death Stars. Mackenzie not out yet, just hit to the outside of turn 2.
Siebes has made a statement that they will not have that lane.
Lanes at the moment taking up all of them. Terrasatana just controlling lanes momentarily to allow Mackenzie to get past.
Venus, Thigh Trap, and Terrasatana forming a nice tight wall at the back there, recapturing Neutron. Lovely comms there by their brace, Resident Evil. Oh.
Mackenzie released from the front there now.
The biggest fan in the world just fell on the floor.
I think it might have been a mechanical failure. If you heard that noise on your speakers at home, it was a fan destroying itself. Underway, Jam 18 of the second period. Death Stars way out in front, 189, leading the Bolts on 83. Fizzgig jamming for the Death Stars, has lead in this jam. Baker yet to escape the pack, does so now.
7 minutes left in this game, and Death Stars have pulled away by over 100 points. Really finishing off this tournament.
A couple of 60-point jams. The Bolts could have this one.
Well, that's true. True. Break some kind of world record. It ain't over till it's over, though, is it?
Mackenzie, lead jammer for the Bolts. Nice and quick through the pack that time round. Heavy fall off the start line there.
We've had some amazing support here for this tournament by Medical Edge. It's always awesome to see their staff come along and help us out with the first aid and watch their roller derby knowledge increase over the weekend. And by the end, they're full professionals at following the game.
So the Bolts adding 4 points to their total this time round. And Benedicta for the Bolts just skating their way over to the Medical Edge medical representative. Just get checked out after that last fall. Make sure everything's where it should be. And Olivia Neutron-Bomb sails past that defensive formation at the start. I'm not sure the blockers knew the jam had started.
I think everyone didn't realize the jam was on. Now, Bob, do you recall, were varsity in the grand final last year? Or was it the year before?
I'll have to check my stats.
We've definitely seen them in the grand final. It will be Convict City Rollers' first time in a Rebellion grand final. Convict City Rollers all the way from Hobart, Tasmania. Varsity from Canberra.
Oh, so cutting the track issued early against Fizzgig there, so it'll be a power jam for Mackenzie, who is now the lead jammer for the Bolts.
I'm going to head on over to Flat Track Stats and see if I can get a bit more information on the last time these two teams met.
So the pack sets itself at turn 1, waiting for Mackenzie on this power jam. Tara Satana opens up a hole in that defensive wall for Mackenzie to hopefully get through. But they are shut down again.
She's just so much fun to watch. Big, clean hits.
Not much movement in the pack at the moment, waiting for these jammers to get back amongst it. Fizgig back from the bin. Star cover in hand, gets past to the pack.
So Varsity did play in last year's Rebellion Grand Final, where they came runner-up to the notorious VICs from VRDL. And they were victorious as well.
Victorious, notorious.
The victorious, notorious.
Three and a half minutes left to play in the game. Dash jamming for the Death Stars. Paradigm stretch one more time for the Bolts.
Dash has just got so many tricks in their jammer bag. As does Baker, who's taken that star and made it through, hoping to race around and score some points. And she does manage to pick up 2 points at the back of the pack.
Mackenzie and Neutron waiting behind the line for this jam to start. This will be jam number 23. Just over 2 minutes left to play in the game. Neutron gets out first. Chased down at the front there by Resident Evil, but can't engage.
Rain is coming down so hard now I can't hear anything.
Neutron gets on past for a scoring pass. There's a penalty being issued in the pack there somewhere. Gloria Stunham heading off to the box for Northside. Neutron clears the pack one more time, calls off the jam. So 8 added to the Death Stars total. That takes them to 209
to 93. Timeout being called by Auckland. If you're at home watching and you're in Melbourne, you should head on down to Eltham Leisure Centre. Entry is only $10. We've still got 3 more games to go.
$10 for 3 whole games of live roller derby, including a tournament final.
So cheap.
Rolling whistle ends that timeout and starts our lineup clock. Everybody scrambles back to position as we get ready to go back to the derby.
One great thing about this venue is they have a pool. So a lot of the teams have been visiting the pool in between games.
I'll do my warm-up in the sauna. Venus thigh slap. Steps it down through those defenders. Picks up a lead jammer.
Baker just seems to have boundless energy. She just doesn't look tired at all.
Oh, Baker flexibly on the outside line there, manages to keep their feet inside and get past those defenders. And Terasatana opens the way for Baker to get through that pack one more time.
Oh, big hit there by Saves, clearing off that brace, making it an easier pass for Venus.
Baker up on the toe stops around that blocker.
So slippery on that outside line.
8 and 8 so far this jam. The Bolts have cracked the 100-point mark. They're on 101 so far. There will be some more added before this jam comes to an end. Green Venus steps nimbly past a couple of defenders round the outside.
Baker's gone round again for another 4 points.
Venus side slap. Gets stuck on the inside there, decides to call off the jam, making for a 19-point jam for the Death Stars, 16-point jam for the Bolts. And that rolling whistle is going to end our timer and make that score official. So the Death Stars take out the victory there, 228 over the Auckland Roller Derby Bolts, 109.
What a great game.
That was an entertaining game to watch. There was lots of really nimble jamming, lots of really strong defence from those blockers.
Really clean, really low penalty game.